We're live. Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone? Let me adjust this camera just a touch. Okay. Hi. Hello, hello, hello. I feel like my camera here is a little foggy. Let me go back. Sorry. Okay, a little better. Instagram, Facebook, great to see you again. Love being with you guys as always. I come live every week. This week I'm doing it on Friday instead of Thursday, but I am Amy of amyrout.com. I get to come to you live every single week and talk to you about what I think are really important topics. Today's topic is all about macronutrients for fertility and what you can do to, like, with your nutrition to help your body get pregnant, stay pregnant, reduce inflammation, do all sorts of things that your body needs to get and stay pregnant. For those of you that are new to me, we get new followers all the time on all social media channels. So thank you so much for following me. Welcome to my community. I'm honored to be here with you. I've been doing this a long time. I'm almost 20 years in clinical practice. I am now a multiple time best-selling author. I have written quite a few books. Two that really pertain to today's topic are these. Yes, You Can Get Pregnant, which came out in 2015, and my most recent book, The Egg Quality Diet, which is all about, macronutrients that are balanced for optimal fertility. So between writing these two books, I did write another one called Body Belief, which is right over here. And that's all about healing autoimmunity. This book is dirty. Forgive me. This is actually liver support soup, if you guys can imagine. It's spilled on the book. But between writing all of these books, my practice has grown significantly, both online and in the clinic. I am an acupuncturist and herbalist by trade. I also am studying functional medicine. I have a degree in biology and in chemistry. I studied neuroscience at the master's level. So I have quite a bit of science, nerdy background, if you will, plus add in all the clinical experience. But through writing the books, I have learned a lot, and I have reached a lot of women and their partners, and I have seen what works. Recently, with this book coming out, we did a post on social media about macronutrients for fertility, and we showed some sample diets of really healthy diets. And then we showed how these healthy diets, these women that were eating these healthy diets and following what is perceived to be a healthy diet for fertility, which many people are out there promoting fertility diets, they were missing their macronutrients and significantly impacting their health and their hormones. If you guys ever want the opportunity to be featured as a post, send us a copy of your food diary, 1 or 2 days, and we might use you in a post to kind of show the macronutrients and then the macronutrient breakdown of the menus that we have in this latest book, The Egg Quality Diet. So if you guys don't know about this book, it came out on June 13th. It is currently an Amazon bestseller in fertility, in endometriosis, and in women's health. It is selling like hotcakes, and I am honored that you guys are so excited about this book. I'm really excited about this book. So a backstory to this book was I wrote Yes, You Can Get Pregnant. I've been, working clinically with women for many years. Yes, You Can Get Pregnant has a very, what I would say these days, standard, typical fertility diet that I think can be really useful and is a great starting point for many women. But what I started to notice was people were picking and choosing, kind of like, oh, I'm going to go gluten-free. I'm still going to have a little bit of dairy. And then, I'm not really going to eat the liver. And I'm not really into the bone broth. And I really like my oats, so I'm still going to have oatmeal, and I'm not going to eat every couple hours, and I'm going to not have protein with breakfast, and I'm only going to have vegetables with lunch and dinner. I'm not going to get veggies with my breakfast. And so women were coming to me time and time again, and I would see that they were missing their marks, and so then I would have to talk to them about, you make sure you have to add this in. I want you to get 80 grams of protein. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. Make sure you're getting enough fat. That started to work for a lot of women. And then there was this subset of women, which I think is a very large subset of women who are dealing with fertility challenges, especially like if you fall into any of these categories, this could apply to you. Endometriosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome, unexplained infertility, premature ovarian insufficiency, premature ovarian failure, high AMH, low FSH, vice versa, low AMH, high FSH, that you might have an inflammatory and or autoimmune condition that's actually impacting your fertility. So then I went on to write a book all about autoimmunity, and then that was because I was doing so much research on how autoimmunity was impacting infertility. And combine the two, plus several more years of clinical experience, plus a lot more research, and here you have it. So this, I think, is one of the ultimate fertility diets that's out there. It is an elimination diet that is completely macronutrient balanced to help you get and stay pregnant. It also promises to reduce inflammation, balance your hormones. What else? Improve egg quality. Right, that too. But listen, even if you don't have an egg quality issue, maybe you have a getting pregnant, staying pregnant issue, this is still where you should go. And so today's focus is a big focus of this book, but I want to break down for you what are macronutrients, why are they important in getting and staying pregnant? What are macronutrients? Why are they important in getting and staying pregnant? I do see a question about histamine issues. We're not necessarily talking about that today, but I do address that in the book. There's a resource section in the book where I talk about SIBO and I talk about histamine, both of which can really impact fertility, obviously inflammation, gut dysbiosis. The whole goal of this diet is to help heal your gut, reduce inflammation, improve your ability to absorb your nutrition so that your cells in your body get everything they need so that they feel confident and ready to go and make a baby. Making a baby is about having enough, having an excess amount of qi and blood and essence, as we say in Chinese medicine, but an excess of micronutrients, which kind of make up the macronutrients. So first things first, what are macronutrients? What are they? They are carbohydrates, fat, and protein. These are nutrients in the largest amounts that make up your diet. They are the nutritive components of food that the body needs for energy to maintain the body's structure and symptoms. That is a quote from MD Anderson Wellness. And what I noticed across the board is, so lots of research went into my work, the work I do, it seems from studies and research, many of which are talked about in this book in the first 2 chapters, that women trying to get and stay pregnant do best with the macronutrient ratios of, are you ready? I'm going to just read from the book because why not? Why not? 45% fat, 35% protein, 45% fat, 30% protein, 25% carbohydrates. So there's some really cool research, which I actually have the article open here on my computer. Does changing a patient's dietary consumption of proteins and carbohydrates and fat impact blastocyst development and clinical pregnancy rates from one cycle to the next? This was a research article published in the medical journal Fertility and Sterility. It came out in 2012. And a Dr. Russell, he did this in his fertility clinic. Patients greater than 35 years of age with poor blastocyst development, patients less than 35 years of age with poor blastocyst development and pregnancy outcome were asked to record a comprehensive 3 consecutive day nutrition log. The data was recorded and patients were counseled on how to increase their daily intake of protein while lowering their carbohydrate intake. So what he saw was that, I want to just talk to you about it here. Dr. Jeffrey Russell of the Delaware Institute of Reproductive Medicine discovered something fascinating in his own clinical practice, shifting his patients from eating a diet that was nearly 60% carbohydrates. Now remember, carbs are not bad foods, but grains, breads, pastas, those can be carbohydrates. So could sweet potatoes, so could plantains, so could squash. 60% carbohydrates, 10% protein, and 30% fat. That was the standard diet that he saw in his clinic when he surveyed his patients. He switched them to a diet that was 25% carbs, which is about 110 grams, 30% protein, which is about 80 to 90 grams of protein, and 45% fat, which is about 50 or 60 grams of fat, dramatically improved fertility. Many of the women who were following the diet of 60% carbohydrates were having continued IVF failures and not making any blastocysts, which basically means no healthy embryos were growing out. When their diet shifted to 25% carbs, 30% protein, and 45% fat, they had 4 times the pregnancy success rates. 4 times the pregnancy success rates. So great question. How low carb is too low carb? I think below 75 grams is too low carb. It's not going to be good for hormones. So my diet is recommended. It's around about 100 grams of carbohydrates. I actually broke it down. I have another note over here. So to be clear, low carb is 50 to 75 grams per day. Keto is even lower than that. It's about 40 grams per day. That is not sustainable for any woman trying to balance her hormones. Let me say that again. Low carbs, I really think anything below 50, but even 75 is too low carb for any woman who is trying to get pregnant. Any woman who is trying to regulate her hormones, any woman who is trying to sustain a pregnancy, make healthy embryos, regulate her hormones, it's too low. I want you getting around 100 grams for the best hypothalamus, pituitary, ovarian, and adrenal support and blood sugar support. So when you balance your hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis, when you balance your blood sugar, you are going to have balanced hormones. So doing a diet that is, and the other keys though are not just the carbs. The other keys that is so overlooked, and what I see commonly overlooked, is people don't eat enough protein and they definitely don't eat enough fat. If you eat enough protein, if you get 80 to 90 grams of protein in a day from good quality sources like grass-fed meats, wild-caught fish, what else is a good source of protein? Bone broth, liver, organ meats, eggs, good quality protein sources. When you get 80 to 90 grams of protein a day from good quality protein sources, you are going to automatically fall into a really healthy fat range. The healthy fat range has also been shown scientifically to improve fertility, especially in older women, women with advanced maternal age. If you have a very healthy omega-3 fat intake, it has been shown to prolong reproduction into advanced maternal age. I actually have that in here. Let me just read it because I think it's pretty profound. Let's see if I can find it quickly. Sorry, I should have had this. I should have had it earmarked. I know it. I know where it is in my head, but it was a cool study showing that omega-3s. Let's see. Here we go. A diet rich in omega-3 fatty acid prolongs reproductive function into advanced maternal age. A literature review concluded that an increased omega-3 intake prior to conception was shown to positively impact embryo morphology in a study of women undergoing IVF. It promotes vascular development in the endometrium, reduces the risk of miscarriage, increases uterine blood flow, increases the length of pregnancy, reduces preterm birth, and reduces placental inflammation when taken during the first trimester and throughout pregnancy. Said another way, you can improve the quality of your eggs, the inflammation in your body, and how your reproductive system works when you follow the egg quality diet. So I want you guys all to catch that. So macronutrients, they are the basics of our diet. It is fat, it is protein, it is carbohydrates. You cannot go too low carb and want to succeed at getting pregnant. It is not going to work for you. You cannot go too low fat and succeed at getting pregnant. It's not going to work for you. Protein and fat are the building blocks to life. If you want to create a human, you've got to eat enough protein and fat. Another thing that came up when we put the post up on social media about macronutrient balanced diets was calories. People started asking a lot about calories. What is the calorie content of an average daily menu in your book? Now, I kept it because we're reaching thousands and thousands of women. We kept it around 1,400 to 1,600 calories per day. Some people need more than that. Some people I don't think really should go less than that personally. Some people, that is the perfect amount of calories to maintain their weight. Some women will lose weight on this. We don't want everybody losing weight. Some women maybe need to lose a little bit of weight, get their BMI into healthy range for successful fertility. But others don't. But to just keep in mind, a calorie is not a calorie. So I wrote an entire blog on this back in 2012, which I just found before coming live. And I have it in like a conversation. So the patient asked, what about counting calories? I said, let's not focus on calories. Let's focus on eating organic, grass-fed protein, fat, veggies, and low-sugared fruits. No grains, no artificial or processed anything, just protein, veg, fat, and low-sugared fruit. This was written in 2012, which I was impressed with myself because that's before I wrote, Yes, You Can Get Pregnant. Okay, so I don't need to limit my calories. Can I eat bacon and eggs every day for breakfast and I might lose weight, or I might get everything my body needs? Yes. So I just want to be clear that there was, in my research, I found that the American Dietetics Foundation stands firm on their stance that a calorie is just a calorie, but most nutritionists and scientists disagree. Based on science and my own clinical experience, I'm siding with the nutritionist here, and here's the information I found to support my decision. A medical director and obesity expert really drives the point home that a calorie is not a calorie. In this article, he discusses 2 different studies on calorie restriction. One study conducted on young men restricted their calories to 1,560 per day, with their nutrient intakes as follow: 25% protein, 17% fat, 57% carbs. Over a 24-week starvation part of this study, the subjects not only lost a considerable percentage of body weight, but suffered a number of problems as well. As time wore on, the men thought ceaselessly about food. They became lethargic. They were cold all the time. They became depressed, developed bleeding disorders. The ankles became swollen, and some developed serious psychological disorders. Keep in mind, their macros were 25% protein, not too bad, 17% fat, super low, 57% carbs. Again, similar to the girls in this study that I talk about with Dr. Russell. Those girls were not getting pregnant. You'd be surprised when you track your macronutrients that you're eating probably a lot more carbs than you realize. That's what I started to see clinically. Women were coming in, oh, I cut out gluten, I cut out dairy, I cut out soy, I'm not doing added sugar. But I'm eating this whole big bowl of oatmeal in the morning with flax seeds and I don't know what else, but oatmeal and no vegetables for the morning. Oh, and then I'm having for lunch, I love these gluten-free muffins that this place around the corner has. So I have that with some almond butter. Again, kind of amazing, right? You would think, oh, she's gluten-free, she's dairy-free, doing almond butter. This is good instead of peanut butter. Oh, and then for dinner we have protein and vegetables. Okay, not bad. However, really missing the boat. Definitely too high on the wrong kind of carbohydrates, those processed refined grains. Even if they're gluten-free, they're still processed, they're still refined, and maybe or maybe not they're organic. We don't know. Definitely not hitting the mark on the nutrient dense, micronutrient rich carbohydrates that are vegetables, not eating enough fat, and definitely missing the boat on protein. If you don't eat enough protein, ladies, your body is going to suffer. Yeah, you need to eat more carbs, Sarah Hudson. You chicken and fish, that is perfectly fine. Chicken and fish and eggs. If you can do chicken and fish and eggs and you'll do bone broth, chicken bone broth, this diet is where it's at. So what I did was create not just this book, but there's 100 days of menus in here, all of which are macronutrient balanced for the proper macronutrients for fertility, which is 45% fat, 30% protein, 25% carbs. Of course, you can vary a little bit here and there, and our diets vary a little bit here and there as well. What I recommend, if you want to start tracking your macros, use an app like MyFitnessPal and start logging your food as much as you can, and then they have, under their nutrition category, you can see your macros for the day. You really want to be in that range. Some women do better with more fat for their egg quality. Some women do better with a little more carbohydrates. Kind of depends on your body. What I've set up for in the egg quality diet is that every week you're going to do a questionnaire. It's called the Kinks in Your Body questionnaire. So every week you get to gauge how your symptoms are shifting in your body. You can't really see how your fertility is changing week to week. We can see that over months, not necessarily weeks, but we can see signs and symptoms of inflammation in your body shifting. So just like this study showed, these guys were eating a calorie reduced diet. They were losing weight. So do we correlate weight loss with health? Maybe we do in our society. I don't think that's appropriate. They weren't really paying attention to macronutrients that are healthy, and they weren't paying attention to the quality of the food. And yes, they lost weight, but they became lethargic. They were cold all the time. They became depressed. They developed bleeding disorders, swollen ankles, and psychological disorders in just a few months. So it's so important to see, and even Dr. Russell's article, Infertility and Sterility, clearly shows these women had 4 times the pregnancy success rate when they shifted their macronutrients. Do you recommend waiting? I also eat turkey, smoked turkey, and my spinach or my peas. Recommend waiting until the end of diet to continue fertility treatments? Not necessarily. It's really up to you. I think you can continue to try to get pregnant while you're doing the diet. The recipes are amazing in the book. So we took the steps for you and macronutrient balance the diet. Like I said, some people are going to need some more calories on this diet. I cover your bases. I talk to you if you feel hungry, what to do next. There's an incredible resources page that goes along with the book where we have a lot of information in there for you. All of your PDFs, your hack sheets, everything you can download, shopping lists. This video is going to go on there. So why is it important to be eating this way? So it's just to keep in mind too that when we don't eat enough protein and we don't eat enough fat, we are not giving the cells in our body what they need structurally to thrive and survive. If they don't get those imperative macronutrients, they are inherently deprived, and it is not the best environment to then go ahead and make a baby. So there's some other questions about the book coming in. I just want to wrap up talking about macronutrients, then I can answer some other questions, okay? So what I talked to you about in the book is, don't worry, you don't have to spend time each day calculating your macros, because it can become a lot of work and it can become a little obsessive for people. I've already done that for you with this diet plan. The reason I'm bringing up the macro conversation is I want you to understand what these macros are and how balancing them is so imperative to optimal fertility and egg quality. Scientists have discovered different macronutrient percentages important for different health conditions. For instance, people dealing with cancer need a lot more fat than other macronutrients. But when it comes to fertility, again, 45% fat, 30% protein, 25% carbs, plus or minus 5 on either side, I think could work. It really depends on the woman and the patient and how your body is transforming. I give you a lot of agency over you and your health and your decisions in this book, in this process, on the resources page for you to figure out what's working for you. But remember, I'm advocating this way of eating because I have seen some major fertility shifts for my clients when they follow the egg quality diet. One client finally cut out her favorite green lentil dish and her joint pain went away. Migraines and loose bowel movements went away. Plus, she got naturally pregnant after 8 years of trying to conceive and 23 failed assisted reproductive techniques. Another client finally got her macros right, lost 40 pounds, her chronic eczema cleared up, her daily anxiety settled. She finally got pregnant with a healthy boy with an IUI. 9 previous IUIs to that failed. 9 previous IUIs failed. We shifted her diet to these macronutrients that are micronutrient dense, rich. The 10th IUI finally worked. I mean, you tell me. That's kind of fascinating, isn't it? One woman started this diet with her FSH was a 60. By 3 months into this diet, her FSH was a 12. So eating to support your hormones is important. Not just following a standard fertility diet that I think can be way too vague. I point this out. I have found clinically that all general paleo or Mediterranean fertility diets doesn't help all women. There are a few reasons why I believe this is happening. They can be too general, leaving room for error. Many women following these diets don't get the right macronutrients. Many women who have gone gluten-free eat too many processed, packaged, sugar-laden gluten-free foods and too many gluten-free grains. many women following these diets are still suffering from symptoms. That's why I have the symptom questionnaire in this book, and I have you fill it out every single week. They are supposedly following a fertility diet, but they still don't feel good, and they're still not pregnant. We need to shift something, guys. Many of these diets don't take into account gut dysbiosis and its impact on nutritional deficiencies impacting hormones and fertility. I did a video on this, I think about a week ago. Go back into my my videos, either on Facebook or on Instagram, and you can see, I think it's called Gut Dysbiosis and How It Impacts Fertility. Really important. So that's the other thing you're going to get from this book. It's not just macronutrient balance, it's gut healing diet. None of these fertility diets are an elimination diet, which the egg quality diet is. It's an elimination diet, and it is meant to have you understand what your body needs and doesn't need, how your body reacts, how you can best support your body, how to best support your body in reducing inflammation and optimizing cellular function and thereby hormones and egg quality. Did you also know that if your gut is not balanced, you are not going to process estrogen and progesterone properly? So if you have a hormone issue, estrogen or progesterone, Vitex isn't the fix, guys. You gotta fix your gut. Many of these diets don't stress that you can't out-supplement an unbalanced, nutrient-poor diet. Even more, if you don't have optimal digestion, you're not absorbing nor getting benefit from those costly supplements if you can't absorb them. So I want your big takeaways to be, regardless if you go and buy this book, you need more protein. If you eat 80 to 90 grams of protein a day, some people need up to 100 grams. It really just depends on your body size and weight. But if you eat, we'll just call it 25% protein, you're gonna, and good quality protein. So from wild caught fish, grass-fed meats, pastured eggs, really good quality protein sources, you're gonna get really good quality fat. Protein and fat are what make up structures in your body. If you want to make a human, you've got to eat protein and fat, and then you need a good amount of carbohydrates. 25% I think is a very healthy amount of carbohydrates to help keep your blood sugar balanced and your hormones balanced. This is key, guys. So if you're in doubt, if you think, well, I'm following a diet, it's working for me, I don't have any symptoms, I don't need to buy Amy's book, then track your macros for a week, okay? If they are on par, rock solid, good at you, good on you, keep at it. If they are not, I want you to reconsider. I want you to reconsider. $15 for this physical copy. I think it's on sale on Amazon, $15.99 or something like that. $9.99 for the Kindle. Think about that. 100 days of menus in here and a ton of recipes, shopping lists. So I think there were some questions that I want to get to. I want to make sure I didn't also miss anything in my notes. Yeah, and so what a single diet looks like. So I have in here for you guys too, like what I call my daily tips. Each serving size of protein. So your goal is 70 to 80 grams of protein per day, approximately 10 to 12 ounces of protein, 6 to 8 servings or 3 to 4 cups of cooked vegetables a day, enough water, and then good quality fats, which again, if you're eating, so I want to read to you, so phase 4, week 11, breakfast, coconut milk yogurt with cinnamon and berries, pretty yummy. Snack, yolkacado, which is a baked avocado with an egg yolk inside. It is freaking delicious if you've never had it. And your liver support soup, which is basically a vegetable soup that has bone broth as the base. It is delicious and yummy, and about 2 to 3 servings of vegetables. Lunch, grilled fish with roasted vegetables. Snack, some sauerkraut with a sweet potato and ghee. Delicious. Dinner, grilled fish again if you want, grilled meat, whatever you want, with sauteed asparagus, leeks, hollandaise sauce, some bone broth. That's an average meal here. So it's not that complicated. It's really just eating clean and making sure you're hitting your macros. For me, if I don't have my liver support soup, which is my vegetable soup, if I don't have that every day, I have a hard time getting all my vegetables. 3 to 4 cups of vegetables a day is a lot of vegetables, but 6 to 8 servings of vegetables is what you want to be hitting for optimal fertility and hormone balance. 80 to 90 grams of protein is what you want to be hitting for optimal fertility and balanced hormones. A couple tablespoons of a good quality fat every single day is what you want in your diet for optimal fertility and balanced hormones. Okay, so if you want extra support and the macronutrients all figured out for you, go and buy the book. 100 days worth of menus and meal plans in here, recipes, shopping lists, an incredible resources page that goes along with the book, which is meant to support you in all the other avenues too. Not just you can download all the PDFs on the website and print them out, which is amazing, but there's tons of videos and other tools to support you in all the other areas like sleep and exercise and meditation. I even made some meditations for all of the readers of the book. You get brand new meditations from me on the resources page that go with this book. I talk a lot about, there's videos and content supporting you around the emotional struggles with the fertility challenges, sperm health. There's so many additional resources that go along with the book on this website. It's like you get so much more than just a book, by the way, when you buy this book. Do I have the butternut squash soup recipe is on the book. So yeah, we found out that about the first 5,000 copies of the book went out without 2 crucial recipes, and they are now on the website. So if you bought the book, pre-ordered it, or you've bought it already, chances are, in paperback that is, chances are you don't have those crucial recipes. They are now on the website for you. It was thanks to you guys for noticing that these recipes were missing, and we went and we fixed them. And yeah, shopping lists are all on there. Everything is on there that you need. And that is the benefit of books. There's always something wrong when you go to print. You always miss something. So it's so nice to have a website that goes along with the book where you can adjust and correct. So make sure, I mentioned the website in the book like 100,000 times. Please go to the website and take advantage of the resources in the book. If you have gotten the book, leaving a review is really appreciated because the reviews help us reach more women. Look at it as your way of paying it forward on the fertility journey. So I want to go through and make sure. I'm going to look Facebook first for questions, okay? Where do I look for questions? Oh, here we go. They moved things around here. If I am doing an AIP diet, is just having sweet potatoes as my carb enough, or should I add in 1 serving of quinoa a day? Should it be soaked first? Well, AIP quinoa is not allowed on AIP because it's a seed. So proper AIP is really important to follow, and I talk about that in this book. I talk about the proper way to reintroduce foods. So if you needed more carbohydrates, I would rather you do things like squash or plantains, which are really good sources of carbohydrates. And don't involve seeds, because there's a point in the book where we eliminate all the way down. We eliminate grains, we eliminate nuts and seeds to really help heal the gut. And so the best sources of carbohydrates when you're in that phase or those phases of the book are rather sweet potatoes, plantains, white sweet potatoes, squash. If I had eliminated grains, dairy, soy, egg, sugar, and within a month or 2 lost weight, became below BMI, I lost my period, would this be a good fit for me? Yeah, because I talk about how to maintain enough calories. Absolutely. That you just probably weren't eating enough. I see that all the time too. Oh, I cut all these things out, and then the girls send me their diaries. They're eating like 800 calories a day. That is not sustainable. You are going to lose weight, too much weight. Your BMI is going to drop. You are going to lose your period. So yes, this is really calorically balanced, macronutrient balanced. I would say give it a try, Heather. Okay, so those are all the comments I see on there. Beth, am I correct? Any other comments? Am I missing anything? And let me go through here on Instagram. Let's see. Any other questions from you guys? I know my team is on answering questions as well. Hypothalamic amenorrhea. Yeah, you're not eating enough carbohydrates. We talked about that, Sarah. Audio version as well. We didn't do an audio version only because there's so many menus in here, but what I would recommend is, I guess to ask too, what do you need it for? Is it from an impairment, or is it just by choice? Because if it's by choice, I would still then just recommend getting the book and using the resources page. There's a lot of videos that go along with the book. I just finished filming a 4-part video series for each phase. That's going to be up on the site very soon. So I didn't do an audio version just mainly because it'd be me reading like breakfast hash and eggs, golden milk bone broth. It'd be a little boring. But the, first couple chapters I suppose I could do audio, but haven't yet. I already answered the carbohydrate question. 100 gram per portion or per day. I think per day because no, I know per day. Yeah, I'll just look at my thing right here. Yes, 75 to 150 grams of carbs per woman. So I kind of take an average of that. It's about a 100, 110, 115 per day. Fruit seems to be a better starch than for carbs. Yeah, glad I caught this live. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Okay, you need to eat more carbs. Is ground organic turkey okay? It is. During the phase 2, I am strict about what I recommend as far as grass-fed beef or lamb and or salmon or cod, and then egg yolk, of course. Only because, but I talk about this, so if you get the book, you'll see there's videos on the site that say start here. I really want you to watch all those videos and understand why, and then also humanness. Like if you can't eat grass-fed beef and all you can eat is turkey and you don't eat lamb, then do it with turkey, guys. It's okay. I tried to be as clean as possible and learning from other traditions like Ayurvedic and traditional Chinese medicine, why specific proteins. And also, I think there was another question like why the certain phases of the days. I just did it that way. I figured 9 days to remove all the heavy hitters, take one food out a day. So that's where you got the 9 days. 11 days, why I did that, I wanted it to be about 2 weeks, but I kind of broke it up 4, 3, and 4. That's really where I got the 11. So it's almost like a bone broth cleanse that you're doing in those 3 days in the middle, and then we start to ease back in. I wanted the whole first phases 1, 2, and 3, or phases 1 and 2, to get you almost to a month. And so I was, it was just kind of the way I was playing with the numbers and what I saw clinically that people were capable of doing. I think you could do phase 2 longer if you wanted. You could do phase 3 longer if you wanted. A lot of people do. It really just depends on your body and what feels good for you. Going over the percentage is okay, right? It depends. I don't want you going too much over on the carbs. Going a little over on protein is okay. Going a little over on fat is okay. Where I tend to see the problem arise is people eating too many carbohydrates and not enough protein. The recipes are amazing. Thank you. Is there a specific reason? Okay, so I just answered that. Can I eat nuts? Okay, so again, read the book. So it's an elimination diet. We do eliminate nuts because they can be highly inflammatory for some people. They contain something called lectins. Lectins can be very inflammatory. I go through it in the book. There's another. I have great books on the website too that I recommended reading if you want to go deeper. I pre-ordered your book July 17th. I don't know why that is. I would almost recommend canceling that order and reordering it because everybody else who's pre-ordered has pretty much gotten the book. If you're outside of the U.S., maybe that's a problem. But if you're in the U.S., I highly recommend canceling the original order and then ordering it again. Okay, just got the book yesterday. Any opinions on nursing while doing this diet? Our fertility docs didn't think it was needed to stop my cycles or regular endo is my problem. Yeah, this is definitely enough calories for nursing. You might need some extra, and I talk about that in the book. I tell you what to do if you're still hungry or if you need extra calories. How long was she on the diet before she got pregnant on her 10th IUI? Probably about 6 months, I'd say. I have her story of hope. We also have the stories of hope on the resources page that go along with the book. It was the story of hope that I did with Billy. And so you could go and watch her story of hope and learn all about what she did. Can these diets change my sex drive because it is low? Absolutely. Your sex drive is low because your hormones are imbalanced. If you balance your hormones, your sex drive will come back. The butternut squash recipe is on the page, on the website. Okay, what's a good daily vitamin? So vitamins are on my website. Go under Amy's recommended products and you can see all the ones I recommend. Leaky gut food sensitivities. So that's why this is an elimination diet. And I talk about SIBO and I talk about histamines, but this book is all about healing leaky gut and food intolerances. This is the ultimate way to do it. This is basically autoimmune paleo with some Chinese medicine tweaks. So any elimination diet I've ever seen, you can definitely do this diet. Any organic grass-fed bone broth, okay to yes. We also have the ones that I approve of that are store-bought on the website. Have been eating low FODMAP, so avocados as a fat or a no-no. So you can do something else. And I talk about that too. If I talk about that in the histamine section on the resources in the back of the book. I talk about that in SIBO. So you can choose other foods. You don't, and I say that in the book throughout. If you have an allergy to a certain food, if you can't eat a certain food, if you don't like a certain food, you don't have to eat it. Just choose another food that's similar and allowed in this phase. Will the increase in protein help iron? Yes, it definitely will. Just got in the mail, excited. Thank you. One more question. Does your book reference hyperthyroidism antibodies? So I talk about autoimmunity in pretty much every single thing I ever do, and Hashimoto's is a big piece of it. And this is where I would start anybody with an autoimmune condition, is a diet like this. And this is something I've been using in my clinic for probably 5+ years at this point. I just finally decided to actually put into action and give everybody else access to it. So yes. Autoimmunity is a very important topic. I talk about it in the book, and on the resources page, there's even more information that goes into depth. And with all that, I'm going to go because I have to go because I have another call. So, sorry, hypothyroidism, antibodies. Absolutely. We talk about antibodies and autoimmunity. Sorry, I said Hashimoto's, but I meant autoimmunity. Yes. Graves is an autoimmune condition as well. Okay, guys. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. And again, if you haven't gotten a copy yet, you seem interested, you're thinking about it, go get a copy. If you have your copy and you have some extra time, please go and leave a review. The best place to leave the reviews, even if you didn't buy the book there, is on Amazon. That helps us reach more women. Think of it as your way of paying it forward to all the other women on the journey, right? I think, you guys are a tribe of women that are coming together to support one another in this painful process. So think of it as a way of supporting other women on the journey. And one more question. Is collagen, gelatin, and collagen peptides the same? A little different. Gelatin is a little stickier. It's not as, I think there's one more processing that the peptides go through. The peptides dissolve better. The gelatin is really great for making sauces or homemade jello. And I have, right, there you go. Thank you, Beth. Beth posted. I have something about that. Okay, guys. Mwah. I will talk to you later. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much, Instagram. Bye, guys.